Okay, welcome to this stamp sketch finishing video. I'm going to add a quote to this scene right here with this turtle. Yeah, there's something very evocative about turtles, be it baby sea turtles or this little desert tortoise here, that seem to kind of inspire word stamps, I guess. I don't know. Things are, like a desert tortoise and like baby sea turtles. They're, I don't know if it's the whatever the shape of them or something like that. I mean, one of them's kind of running for their lives, and the desert tortoise is kind of a slower moving one. But anyways, I tend to want to use quotes with them for some reason. It's evocative that way. So, anyways, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Oh, nah, I get a little bit crooked there, but yeah, so be it. I get most of my word stamps when I'm stamping them out are a little bit off. But this one right here, I had that ocotillo going up there, and I didn't want that going into my words, so everything's a little bit squished. But so be it. All right. So I want something in these. Now, I mean, this could just be toned in here, but I was wondering about maybe adding in like a light source in here or something like that. I can have a moon kind of coming up from behind those mountains back there. The way that I tend to do that is I just take my 1-inch hole punch. Maybe I'll do it on one of these and maybe not the other. I'm not sure. Let's see how this goes. If I like it just so much on one of them, then I might add it on the other, where initially I was thinking maybe not. But we can do something like this here. Like this moon kind of coming up from beyond the horizon. And like I said, I didn't really leave a huge amount of space for these things, just because I was really focusing on the impressions and the integration in here. Let's see. I mean, we could see like this in here. I was thinking the sphere might kind of get in the way. I can have it coming from like a horizon or something like that, or we can throw it up here. That would be kind of interesting. It would be better if it was like right here and those ocotillos were in front of it, though. I don't know. On this one right here, I really like this grain up here, though. And I'm not sure if I want to cover that up. But on here, I am thinking about adding in some highlights around here. So this might be kind of interesting like that. All right, so that being said, let's do that. I'm kind of curious about this. I have this Carvathello white pastel pencil. And I haven't done this before. I'm usually doing this with my white pigment ink, but maybe we can just use this pastel pencil and draw in our light source. I'm going to call it a moon in this case. So you get that right in there like that. Now, pastels, I mean, we'll have to spray seal this to seal it down, but I think that looks kind of interesting. Okay, so that being said, let's get to it. I have a black Conte crayon here. It's kind of like a drawing pencil. It has a little bit of a different kind of consistency than that of a colored pencil, a wax colored pencil. It's a little bit softer, but it's a little bit harder than pastel, though. I don't know, let's give it a try here. I didn't buy any of these things, specifically to use in stamping. I have a stash of old art supplies from my art school days. I was a illustration major in college, and I have a bunch of media. They have get they have a list of a supply list, and before every design or a drawing class, and you have to go get those types of things before the in the beginning of the semester. And a lot of them, I don't know, we never even got around to using. So I don't know. Some teachers need to really kind of think out their their curriculum a little bit better. Because when you're a student, you're really poor. A lot of it was like for, I don't know, like beginning drawing classes and things like that, where you're really getting bogged down with a bunch of different media to use, or sometimes they'll have you get something, and then you might use it for like one project one day or something like that. Kind of crazy, and then you never use it again throughout your entire schooling. So as far as a black Conte pencil, I don't think I've ever used this before. I've used Conte crayons though before in some other drawing classes, life drawing classes, and things like that. But not the pencil. So I have no idea what it's from. But purchased probably, I don't know, 35 years. I don't know, 35 years ago, maybe more. All right, so I'm just kind of toning in my mountains in the background there like that, giving them some mass. It gives them a little bit of contrast against that moon. That pastel pencil isn't super white. I mean, this paper right here is white, but I gave it a pretty good coating like that. Okay, now right around these rocks like this, I can create some kind of base layer, kind of foundation shading. The moon right here is, again, these rocks kind of cast their shadows kind of back this way, we can say. I kind of try to transition my shadows going from darker to lighter as it moves away from the rocks here in this case. All right, let's have this little rabbit here kind of casting its shadow like that. We have these not barrel, but pipe organ cactus right there. A little bit more shading on this side of the this natural bridge right here. And there's some other rocks out here, kind of behind this, or at the base of the Joshua tree. All right, so right in here, I'm going to leave that as is. I'm just going to have some of my rocks kind of, that shadow kind of tapering a little bit. But I don't want to go into this area too much because I like the wood grain. If you're using that wood grain paper, chances are you like that texture, so it's best to not cover it up too much. Okay, so we have our shadows in here, and there's a lot of lighting already established just by the usage of shadow. So this area in here becomes a little bit lighter because we have this area down here darker. The foundation of the wood grain paper is already, it's like a 5% to, I don't know, maybe like at its darkest, maybe a 20%, 20% gray. It's not gray, it's tone, but just in terms of its value. So right here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my white pastel pencil again, and we'll add in some highlights. So kind of on the opposite side of some of these objects where I added in some shadow, we'll add in some light like this. Okay, and maybe right down here on these rocks. If you've added shadows somewhere, and if there's an opportunity for some highlights, you can kind of add that down there like that. Kind of illuminates the landscape. I would put some down in these areas, but again, I want that, I don't know, kind of wood grain paper to breathe a little bit. But right up on top of this, closer to our little, I don't know, kind of focal point, I guess, this with this rabbit. Well, this rabbit kind of illuminated in the light a little bit like that. And let's see here. If you add in too much of this pastel pencil, you can just kind of wipe it off. You can wipe it off with your hand, or you can take an eraser and just remove some of it. The spray sealing process too will kind of darken some of this pastel too. So just hit it very lightly with a spray fixative. In this case, I think would be the best for this material. I changed my mind. I am going to put some highlights down here. I like the look of that right back in there where that light is kind of hitting those kind of slopes right there. The what do they call that? Not the wash. I kind of forgot that area at the base of mountains where it's you have all that erosion and runoff in there. Oh my gosh, I always knew that name because we'd go hiking and oftentimes in those types of areas. You start forgetting certain things if you don't kind of think about it or use it in your vocabulary for a while. Okay, so anyways, we get that kind of running through like that. And let's see, let's have a highlight here a little bit more. All right, so yeah, it's pretty fun. It's a fun little doing this type of thing with a little bit of lighting, shadow and lighting. It's a good exercise for lighting. It's working on with a specific type of medium, but it's something that you can also apply to whatever media you're working with. You're just working with different tools and surfaces, so you can bring kind of attention to kind of your visual focal points a little bit more, make it a little bit more illuminated like that, anchor it down with a little bit of shadow. You can emphasize them a little bit more. Okay, so that is that. Let's go to this one now. I think that sun in there or something like that would be kind of awkward. Be kind of interesting to put it there, but yeah, let's not do that. I think I'm just going to do something really minimal. Maybe I'll bring in some a little bit of color to this one, maybe. So let's just do our little shadows here. And I'll anchor down the main kind of flora in the scene, because those are the things that are kind of establishing a foundation, a structural foundation for the pieces or the composition. So let's do that. A little shading at the base of the ball cacti. We have the new agave and our little turtle here is casting a shadow. Desert tortoise around in this area should have a lot of spring flowers to eat this year with pretty regular rains coming in so far and more expected. Although I'm not sure if they'll get much rain in this latest storm that's coming around. So seeing this is kind of anchoring down the scene a little bit more in terms of visual weight of the objects in there. Now, I don't like to color anything too kind of extreme when we're working on this type of paper here, because again, this wood grain paper is kind of the star of the scene. So let's see. Let's just go. I like to go for kind of a little bit more of an earthy look, so I kind of stick to lighter tones, and I just like to not color anything too extensively, but I just like to tone it in a little bit more. So remember, this toning too is going to kind of darken your objects in here. In this case, the flora, so I'm not going to do too much in here with that. So it's like giving it kind of just a light, kind of tinge of that, whatever hue you're using. In this case, greens right here. Let's go for a little bit more of it. Yellow green, kind of mix or blend, a few colors together. Usually it gives you a much more kind of rich kind of end result, when you use multiple colors in there. Or values or something like that. In this case, it's a little bit more temperature too. You add a little bit more yellow to this one. It's a little bit more of a warmer green. Plus it's a lighter green too, so you add that down there. You can see it's a little bit yellowish and greenish. Okay, let me see. These are some golden ball cacti here, so we can add some little bit of a orangish tinge in here. Oh, I didn't see it out here. This one's just another little yucca or agave right over here. And let's see. Let's add some sandy textures down here with a little bit. I'll go with a little bit of this brown, but I'll kind of have it in those shaded areas where I just kind of added in some black. I'll blend this in, just to kind of make those shadows a little bit richer with additional tone. Something like that. It's starting to look a little bit more dimensional, don't you think? Here's a darker green. Okay, so I'm adding a little bit of a darker green into the agave. I'm kind of adding a little bit more color than I thought I would. I thought I would just kind of add a hint of tone, but I don't know, I think it looks okay. I'm going to add a little bit of green into my Ocotillo stems here, or whatever you call it. Someone told me the names of those. I forgot what it was. I'm talking about during a live stream. Someone always knows the answer to, the questions we have during those live streams. The questions posed by me, a lot of times I'm not saying I know the answer, but someone watching the live streams. Okay, so see those right there? I don't know if you can see a little tinge of green in there. I don't know, it's kind of animating the piece a little bit more. Let's add a little bit of brown to this desert tortoise here. I'm glad I saw desert tortoise for one of the. It wasn't recent, but one of the last times I camped out in the desert. We just went for an overnighter during the springtime and of a pretty heavily flowered season. So we had kind of a super bloom in one of the local deserts, and I went out to this one area of Anza that I've never seen before, because you kind of need a 4-wheel drive to get out there, and I've never had one, but a friend of mine did, and we went out there, and it was just amazing areas with so many flowers, and there were so many desert tortoise around. It's like I haven't seen one like ever. And then I don't know, they were walking around like every corner in this one area. It was really amazing. Okay, so anyways, that is that. You can add in some other things in here, but I just wanted to keep these really quite simple here in terms of a potential finish. I like those little touches in here. On this one right here, it's a little bit more stark. It could be kind of a moonlit situation. In fact, I kind of see more moonlight in that. I mean, we can make it darker again in here. You know, it'd be more symbolic of the moonlight. Maybe a little bit darker up here in the sky. I'd kind of leave it a little bit darker down, lighter down here, just again so we can see some of that wood grain in there. So, but I like this little passage of light through this, this canyon right in here. I think that's pretty fun as a visual. So this one right here with the colored pencils, we don't really need to spray seal this. Those colored pencils aren't going to come off of that. And but this one right here for sure. And I don't know, doing this type of thing like this too, it really makes for a quick card. Both of these really do. And, colored pencils are really easy to manipulate on there. So what we'll do is, let's see, I don't know if I have an example here. I'll matte these in, this type of, a little bit of white and then gold around here. I tend to think that this gold really looks good, like that. It'll be this big, but I don't know. It makes for a pretty special card, I think, when you mount it on that. As simple as the compositions are in whatever structure and application, media, whatever you call it, to do like that. So give it a little bit of extra bling if you have like some kind of reflective type of matting or framing that you can put on these. And I think it makes, like I said, I think it makes for a really good looking card. There's some of my favorites to do just because they are really fast. I don't know. I guess there's more of a, kind of a spontaneous kind of spirit behind them, just in terms of how fast you can kind of crank these out. So, if you're just working on different compositions like I was doing, just learning how to use some of my new stamps in some ways, you can stamp them on a piece of white paper and then really finish them off later on. These ones were on, glossy cardstock. But you can also just do them on some kind of pre-printed paper that has a background that's interesting to you. And just finish them off really minimally while retaining the spirit of the surface that you're stamping it on, because that's part of the, the star of the piece is the actual, papers. So we wanted to retain that spirit of those papers. So you just kind of do little minimal types of applications. And I'm talking about like shadow and highlighting, are one that, one thing that you can do. And this one is more just the shading and then just a little bit of coloring in there. And I don't know, it looks like a really complete scene to me. I don't think it's really missing anything. And the wood grain itself, makes its own statement. I think, if you send this to someone and if they see it right away, they see, the scene first, or they'll read that and it's like, oh, wait, what is this, in the background? How did you do that? Because if you send this to someone and you're a stamper, they're probably going to think that you did the background on there. I mean, you say, no, I just stamped it on wood grain paper. All right. Anyways, thanks for watching. And thanks as always for tuning into the channel.